You just tossed one in the trash. That yellow peel, still warm from the banana you ate walking out the door, and you never once thought twice about it. Let me tell you something that took me years to learn the hard way. That peel you throw away is worth more than the fruit inside it. It can ripen your produce, feed your plants, shine your silver, and turn a tough, cheap cut of meat tender, and it costs you nothing because you already paid for it. The Amish never throw a banana peel away, not one. In a plain kitchen with no gadgets, no dishwasher, no fancy freezer drawers, that single peel quietly does the work of 5 things you are paying money for right now. And by the end of this, I'll show you a trick I found buried in a household manual printed in 1892, a 30-second thing you can do at your counter tonight that will make you look at a banana peel like you've never really seen one before. You don't need anything special. No machine, no chemical, no order-it-online gadget. Just a peel in the 2 hands you already have. I know how backwards this sounds, because for years I stood at my own kitchen counter, dropping peels in the bin, while a bowl of rock-hard avocados slowly went soft and then black on the windowsill 3 feet away, and I never once connected the two. Let me start there, because that bowl of ruined avocados is where all of this began for me. I used to buy avocados like a gambler, hard as baseballs at the store, because the soft ones were always bruised. Then I'd bring them home and wait, and wait. And they'd stay hard for a week, so I'd forget about them, and by the time I remembered, they'd skipped straight from stone to rot with maybe 1 good hour in between. I threw away more avocados than I ever ate. Same with peaches. Same with pears. Same with those hard green tomatoes at the end of the season. Here is what nobody told me. A banana peel is not garbage. A banana peel is a ripening machine. When a banana ripens, it releases an invisible gas called ethylene. That gas is a signal it tells other fruit nearby to ripen faster, and the peel keeps giving off that gas even after you've eaten the banana. This isn't folklore. A Russian scientist named Dmitry Neljubo proved that plants respond to this gas back in 1901. By the 1930s, the United States Department of Agriculture was using ethylene on purpose to ripen fruit in warehouses. The big shippers have known about this for almost 100 years. They just never bothered to tell you that you have the same power sitting in your own trash can. So here is what I do now, and I want you to try it this week. Take a hard avocado, a stubborn peach, an unripe tomato, anything that refuses to soften. Put it in a paper bag. Toss in 1 banana peel, fold the top over loose, and leave it on the counter. That trapped ethylene goes to work, and what used to take 5 or 6 days now happens in 1 or 2. A rock-hard avocado becomes perfect for guacamole by tomorrow evening. I tested it the first time because I didn't believe it. I split 6 hard avocados into 2 paper bags, 3 with a banana peel, 3 without. The 3 with the peel were ready in about 36 hours. The other 3 were still hard as wood 2 days later. I stood there in my kitchen feeling like a fool because I'd been throwing away the exact thing that would have saved hundreds of dollars of produce over the years. And that's the part that started to bother me. Because if this is so simple, so free, so old, why did I never hear about it? Hold that question, because it gets worse before it gets better. See, ripening was only the first thing that peel could do. The Amish figured out long ago that a thing which feeds fruit can also feed the ground. And once I understood why, I stopped buying something I'd wasted money on for years. Let me ask you this. How much have you spent on plant food? Those boxes of blue powder. The little bottles you squeeze into a watering can? The spikes you push into the soil? I had a shelf full of them. And the whole time, I was throwing the best plant food in my kitchen straight into the garbage. A banana peel is loaded with potassium. It's got phosphorus. It's got calcium and magnesium too. Potassium is the exact nutrient that helps a plant make flowers and fruit. It's the reason tomato growers and rose growers chase it every single season. When you look at a bag of store fertilizer, those 3 numbers on the front tell you the nitrogen, the phosphorus, and the potassium. You are paying real money for potassium, and a banana peel is one of the richest free sources of it you can get your hands on. Now here's where I went wrong at first, so you don't have to. I used to just bury a whole peel next to my tomato plant and think I was being clever. But a whole peel takes weeks to break down, and it can draw bugs while it sits there. The faster way, the way that actually works in days, not months, is to make what old gardeners called banana water. You take 2 or 3 peels, drop them in a quart jar, cover them with water, and let it sit for 2 days on the counter. The nutrients leach right out into the water. Then you strain it, pour that water at the base of your plants, and toss the soggy peels into the soil or compost. My tomatoes that year went from pale and sulky to dark green and heavy with fruit in about 2 weeks. My neighbor asked me what expensive stuff I was feeding them. I told her the truth. Garbage. Free garbage. And that's when the anger started to set in for me, because I finally did the math on what I'd wasted. I had spent, over maybe 10 years, hundreds of dollars on fertilizer and produce ripening gadgets and those little green bags that promise to keep your fruit fresh. Somebody sold me every one of those things. Somebody made money teaching me that fresh food and healthy plants required a product with a barcode, and the whole time, the answer was the thing I was paying to have hauled away as trash. That's the part that really gets me. We didn't just forget this knowledge. We were quietly trained to throw it out. Somewhere along the way, a peel stopped being a resource and became waste, and every product that replaced it had a price tag. The banana growers wrap the fruit. The fertilizer companies bottle the potassium. The gadget makers sell you a plastic box to ripen what a free peel ripens for nothing. 4 different companies profiting from one thing you already own and were taught to distrust. The Amish never fell for any of it. And the reason is simple. In a plain household, nothing is waste until you've asked it to do every job it can do. That single question, what else can this do before I let it go, is the whole difference between a kitchen that saves money and a kitchen that bleeds it. But maybe you're sitting there thinking this is all fine for somebody with a garden and a compost pile and a big farm kitchen. Maybe you've got a small apartment, a couple of windowsill herbs, and a kitchen where the counter is the size of a cutting board. I'm talking to you now. This next part is for you especially, because I lived in a place just like that once. And I want to show you that none of this needs land or space or a single thing you don't already have. Because a banana peel doesn't just feed and ripen, it cleans. And it cleans things you're currently spending money on special products to shine. Start with your houseplants. If you've got a pothos or a rubber plant or a fiddle leaf collecting dust on the sill, take the inside of a banana peel and gently wipe the leaves. The soft inner side lifts the dust and leaves a light, natural shine that lets the leaf breathe and soak up light. No leaf shine spray, no wiping with milk like some folks do, just the peel, then a dry cloth to buff. 2 minutes and your sad, dusty plant looks like it came from a florist. Now go to your shoes. Got a pair of leather shoes or boots gone dull? Rub the inside of the peel across the leather, then buff it with a soft cloth. The natural oils in the peel condition the leather and bring up a shine. I did this to a pair of work boots I was about to throw out, and they looked good enough to keep for 2 more years. That's real money you don't spend on shoe polish, and real leather you don't send to a landfill. Same trick works on a leather bag, a leather belt, even a cracked-looking leather chair. And it works on wood, too. A light rub on a dull wooden bowl or a scratched table leg, then a buff, and the wood drinks up the oil. None of that needs a garden. None of it needs space. It needs a peel and a rag from your drawer. That's it. And that's the whole idea, isn't it? The peel, the rag, the 2 hands you already have, and nothing with a barcode. That thinking goes a lot deeper than one peel. And I finally sat down and wrote it out properly, because a video only holds so much. In my books, I walk you through the same kind of plain, tested habits, step by step, the ones I could not fit here. How to hold bananas a full month without a fridge, how to bring a dull knife back to a razor edge in under 2 minutes with nothing you don't already own, and how baking soda, vinegar, and boiling water run your whole house as one clean system. Every method costs nothing and uses only what is already in your kitchen drawer. No gadget, no app, no special bag, no new fridge. There are cases and dated documents in there too, the same kind of old proof I keep digging up for you. If you want it, scan the QR code right there on your screen. Link in the description, pinned comment. The books are all three together. Now, back to your counter, because we are not done with that peel yet. But I want to be honest with you, because the shine tricks are handy, and they are still not the biggest thing that peel can do. The biggest surprises are the ones that touch your actual dinner, and that's where the Amish thrift really shocked me. Let me ask you something. When was the last time you bought a cheap cut of meat and then fought with it for an hour because it came out tough as a shoe? Round steak, chuck, a bottom roast, the cuts that cost half as much and taste like leather if you don't know the trick. The Amish know the trick, and it's a banana peel. The inside of a ripe banana peel carries natural enzymes and moisture. When you lay peels over a lean roast or a cheap cut before it goes in a covered pot, that moisture and those enzymes work into the surface of the meat, helping to keep it from drying out and helping to soften the fibers as it cooks low and slow. People have done versions of this for centuries in warm countries where banana leaves wrap the meat before it hits the fire. The leaf holds in steam and gentles the toughness. The peel does a smaller version of the same job right in your Dutch oven. Here's how I do it. I season the cheap roast the way I always would. I lay 2 or 3 ripe banana peels right over the top, inner side down against the meat. I put the lid on and cook it low. When it's done, I lift the peels off and throw them out, and the meat underneath is moist and it pulls apart easier than it has any right to for the price. The peel doesn't make it taste like banana. It's a savory dish. The peels come off before serving, and what's left is just tender meat. The first time I tried it, I braced for some sweet, fruity mess. Instead, I got the most tender chuck roast I'd made in years, from a cut that cost me almost nothing. And if that surprises you, wait, because the peel goes even further into your food than that. You can actually eat it. I know how that sounds. I thought it was crazy too. But a banana peel, especially a good ripe one, is food, and treating it as garbage is a habit we learned recently, not an old truth. During hard times, farm families and thrifty cooks used every scrap, and the peel was no exception. You scrape the soft inner pith, you simmer or roast the peel until it's tender, and you chop it into things where it adds body and fiber. Some folks cook it down with onion and vinegar and seasoning until it shreds like pulled meat. It is genuinely filling, and it is genuinely free. Even simpler, and this one changed my baking, you can use the whole banana. When a banana is very ripe and going spotty, the peel is soft and sweet too. I've made banana bread where the peel got boiled soft, blended right into the batter, and baked in. You get extra moisture, extra fiber, and you use the entire fruit instead of half of it. Nobody at my table ever knew. They just said the bread was the moistest I'd ever made. Now think about how much banana you've thrown away in your life. If you eat a couple of bananas a week, the peel is roughly 1/3 of the whole thing by weight. 1/3. For years I bought bananas and threw 1/3 of every one straight in the trash, then turned around and paid for fiber supplements and fertilizer and shoe polish and produce freshness gadgets, buying back, piece by piece, the exact thing I was throwing away. That's the betrayal. Not that the peel was useless, that we were taught to believe it was by every person who profited from the replacement. But I promised you something buried in a document from 1892, and I keep my promises. This is the one I saved for last, because it's the one that made me sit down at my kitchen table and go quiet for a minute. Bananas were barely known in most American homes until the 1870s. At the Philadelphia Centennial Exposition in 1876, bananas were sold wrapped in foil for 10 cents apiece as an exotic novelty. Most folks had never seen one, but within 20 years they were everywhere. And the household writers of that era, The frugal women who ran cooking schools and wrote the manuals that families actually followed, they studied this new fruit hard. Sarah Tyson Rohrer, who ran the Philadelphia Cooking School and wrote some of the most trusted household guides of the 1890s, was one of the writers teaching people to use every part of what they bought. Waste was close to a sin in those kitchens, and in the household manuals of that time, tucked in among the cleaning notes, is the trick I want to leave you with. The inside of a banana peel polishes silver. Not with a special product, not with a pink paste that costs $8 or $9 a jar and smells like a chemical plant. With the peel you are about to throw out, here's the whole thing, and you can test it in less than a minute tonight. Take a tarnished silver spoon, or a silver ring, or a dull piece of silverware from the back of the drawer. Take the inside of a ripe banana peel and rub it firmly over the metal. If you want it faster, tear the peel into small bits, mash it with a splash of water into a soft paste, and rub that on with a cloth. Then buff it dry with a clean rag. The tarnish lifts, the metal comes up bright. It works because the peel is naturally slightly acidic, and the soft pith acts as the gentlest possible polish enough to lift the dark tarnish, too soft to scratch the silver. The first time I did it, I used one of my grandmother's spoons that had gone almost black in the back of a drawer for years. I rubbed it with a peel, buffed it, and watched her initials come back out of the dark like they'd been waiting for me. I stood there holding it, and I thought about every jar of silver polish I'd ever bought, and every peel I'd ever thrown in the bin, and how a woman running a cooking school in Philadelphia in the 1890s knew something I'd paid my whole adult life not to know. That's the hero's journey of a banana peel, if you want to call it that. The knowledge was real. Household writers wrote it down over 100 years ago. Plain, frugal families, the Amish chief among them, kept it alive in kitchens that never stopped asking a scrap to earn its keep. Then the rest of us got sold gadgets and sprays and bags and bottles, and we were quietly taught to throw the answer away. And now, tonight, standing at your own counter, you get to take it back. One peel. Look at everything it just did. It ripened the hard fruit you were going to lose. It fed the plants you were paying to feed. It shined your shoes and your plant leaves and your grandmother's silver. It made a cheap, tough roast tender, and it fed you whole, instead of getting thrown out by the third. So let me leave you with the thing that matters more than any single trick. You are not somebody who throws away what still has value. You never were. That habit was taught to you, sold to you, one product at a time, and you're allowed to hand it right back. The peel was never the garbage. The idea that it was garbage, that was the garbage. Now I want to hear from you. And I mean this. Tell me one thing. Which one are you going to test first? The paper bag with the banana peel to save your hard avocados, or the peel rubbed on a tarnished silver spoon? Pick one, do it this week, and come down to the comments and tell me exactly what happened. I read them, and I want to know if your spoon came back the way my grandmother's did. And if you're the kind of person who's done being sold your own good sense in a bottle, the kind who'd rather test a thing with your own two hands than trust a label, then come stand with the rest of us who are digging this old kitchen wisdom back up one habit at a time. Because next time I'm going to show you what the Amish do with eggshells and coffee grounds that quietly replaces 3 more things on your shopping list, and one of them is something you'd never, ever guess you could stop buying. Don't throw that peel away tonight. Not yet. You know too much now. Before you go, if this video helped, there's a deeper version waiting for our members. You can ask me your own question and a real person answers, and you'll be among thousands of folks just like you. Point your phone's camera at the code on screen. It takes less than a minute, and you can cancel any time, no risk. Now, before you go, let me show you something even more surprising. Those dragon fruit peels you've been tossing out, they hold a hidden treasure too. That next video is starting right here, so stay with me.